Hey again, we're on listings. With listings are the name of the game, as I always said. It's probably my favorite thing about this business. It's very challenging and a lot of fun. Sometimes you have no competition, which is nice, and you can just walk in and sign it right up. And sometimes you may have multiple agents competing for the same listing. It's just basically that's the way that it is. So you really need to get a strong presentation, know when to use it, know when not to use it, because some people just don't need it and they don't want to even listen to it. And then some people are just really want to ask a million questions, and then you need to be prepared for that. So the best thing that you really want to remember is qualifying the listing. Before you go out there, you want to really know and have an idea of what you're going to be up against. Most agents would be just run right out, even if it's not even gettable. Or they may have, I've had agents that have had their sister or brother in the business and they just want a price opinion. So if you qualify a listing or a buyer and everyone, and that doesn't mean financially, it's mostly for motivation, for if they're interviewing, what's exactly going on in this situation. You also want to have standards for listings. You want to put into place things that you want to stand up for. A, being the price. If they're not motivated, you're not going to overprice it. If they have all the time in the world, you're not going to take it overpriced. You want to have a standard on how people are able to treat you. If they're really nasty, do you want to just get rid of it and just have a standard that I don't need to have this in my life? And a lot of times if you release that, you get 3 more things that come to you, and you spend a lot of time with people that just aren't appreciative. It seems like the more you do for some people, the less they appreciate you, and then the less you do for some people, they think you're the greatest thing. So you really want to make sure that you're really respected. You want to be able to ask tough questions and really dig in deep if you need to, and get clarification on issues that they may be having or that they may need help on. A couple things that you can say is, can you tell me a little bit more about that? I'm unclear. Can you please describe that in more detail, please? Or help me understand why that holding out for $3,000 is more important than you moving today and being out in California with your grandchild. Something like that, because sometimes when they really kind of think of things, they're like, that really doesn't make sense. As long as you have it in a nice tone, you really always want to have it in the most respectful tone. Always remember they're more important than you are. And always tell them that I'm here to help you and to reach your goals. This isn't about me. I know a lot of people think that realtors want to just make a commission, but that isn't why I'm here. I'm here, of course I'm here to do that because this is how I get paid, but it's after I do a great job for you and I make you happy. That's my main focus. So make sure they know that. Before you go out on a listing presentation, you should really read through this script, qualifying people extensively. And I'm going to do this in a later video where I'm going to actually go through it with Jim. So I'm going to kind of read through it so you understand the importance, and I'll break down the questions and why I think that this is so important and that you should need to do this every time and get used to it before you go. And basically what you do is just say, hi, is this Jim? Hi Jim, this is Suzanne Dunn with RE/MAX. And before I come out, can I ask you a few questions? And he'll of course say yes. So then you want to really dig in deep, like what they're trying to accomplish. So you also actually let me skip that. The first thing you want to do is just confirm that it's still on. And then from there, after you confirm that time, then you would just ask them, can I ask you a few questions before I come out? Because I want you to be, I want to kind of get an idea what goals you have and how we can help you out here. So before I come out, there's a few questions I really would like to ask you. Would that be okay? And then I've never had anyone, if they say no, then they're not motivated. So then the first thing you want to say is, okay, Jim, if what I say really makes sense and you feel confident and comfortable that I can sell your home when I come out today, are you planning on listing with me when I come out today? And then see what they say. Oh, a lot of times they might be saying, oh, I'm talking to another realtor, or we're not quite ready, or we're just in the beginning stages. But right then and there, you've closed for the first time. And number two is that you are getting a good idea on where their mindset is. So the next thing you're going to ask them is, let me ask you, Jim, do you plan on interviewing more than one agent? And if they have said that to you, then you can always say, oh, who are you planning on interviewing? Interesting. And the reason why you use the word interesting is because it makes them think, is this something that I should do or shouldn't do? So that's why you would just say something like, you wouldn't say like, oh, good for you, like where there are. So you have to kind of know, because there's a lot of different endings of this, which are very psychological, where it kind of leads you to the path and gives you good feedback. But to say interesting there makes them think of, maybe I shouldn't be really doing that. And the way that you say it, you don't just say interesting, you say, interesting. So then it kind of puts in their mind, oh, maybe I shouldn't be interviewing more than one agent. And and tell me again, where are you moving to? Oh, LA? Oh, that's fantastic. Well, let me ask you, why are you moving there? Oh, you have a job interview. Good for you. So try to slow these questions down and answer back what they're doing to try to get it back in a conversation. When you get into the used to answering people back and repeating their answers, it does two things. It makes them understand that you're listening to them, which people want to be listened to. And the second thing, it gives you some time to think sometimes. And maybe you have to just kind of read to the next question to make sure. That's why you have to have this internalized, so you're not going to be saying something that if they say something, well, in the next 3 months we're going to be moving for my job, and then it says, how soon do you need to be there? Well, you don't need to ask that question then. So you need to know that, where you are in the questions, and you really need to know exactly what these questions are and make them more of a dialogue. And then you would say, okay, so you want to be there in 3 months. Okay, that's great. Well, let me ask you, Jim, if I sold your home in the next 30 days, is that going to pose a problem for you? Oh, no. We can move in. We'll probably put the things in a pod. We'll have it moved or stored, and then we can just live with my parents for a month or two, and then we'll move on. Okay, that's terrific. Let me ask you, what if the house didn't sell? Oh, well, I guess we'd have to rent it, or, we have to really get it sold. Then you can say, ouch. So you're putting in their mind that maybe this might not be so easy, because a lot of people think that it's just going to be get it listed and it's going to be sold right away. And also you want to see if there's any other options. If they have thought about renting it, then you kind of test on if they really want it sold. And then the next question would be is, when I see you, what do you want to list your house for realistically? And then a lot of times they're not going to answer you on that. They're going to say, I don't know, you're the expert. Everybody has certain scripts of their own. It seems like everybody has the same scripts. So from there, you want to just let it go if they don't answer you. But know in your head, there's not many sellers that really don't have a good idea what the house is worth before you get there. They just want your price. So don't fall into that. So try to get through the questions and don't give them any answers. Just let them think, okay, because you probably have the answers already, what you're thinking, but you don't want to let that out. And then you say to them, as a professional real estate agent, I study homes and prices every day. So when I get out there, are you going to be listing at my price? And at a price that will cause the house to sell? But I kind of read that, but I would just ask them, so when I come out there, are you going to be listing the property at the price I recommend and get it priced right to sell? And then see what they say from there. And so let me ask you, what's a price that you absolutely won't go below? Now, again, they're going to say, they might not even give you an answer there, but you've got to have the drilling for the price, because the last thing you want to do is give them the wrong price. So you want to ask again. And then, how much do you owe on the property? And then see what they say. And then you can say, okay, that's great. And then have you ever thought about, and then also that, when you ask them what they owe, you're going to know if they're upside down, if it's a short sale, And you might say, if you know that the house is worth 2 and they're saying like 210, then you might ask them then, are you upside down? Have you made all your mortgage payments? Because then you're in your head, you got to know that this could be a short sale, or they may have money to bring to closing. So, and then you want to ask them, have you ever thought about selling the home yourself? And the reason why you want to ask them this is because you want to know what you're dealing with. If you're going to be dealing with a for sale by owner, you may have a different plan that you're going to offer them. So you just want to know if that's even in their head. And most people are going to say no to that. And then you may have a few people. And another thing that for sale by owners do is they ask you to come over so they can get a price so they can sell themselves. So this, at least you're ready to go and equipped with answers, equipped with the right things to bring, and you know what you're going to be dealing with. And then the next question is, will you help finance the home for a buyer? Most people say, oh, do you want all your cash out? Most people are going to want all their cash out. I mean, it's very rare you'll find someone that will do this. And actually, with the laws right now, you got to be very, very careful on that. So it doesn't matter. Still ask it. 99% of the time, they'll say no. If somebody does want to do that, just come and see me on that. And then ask them, can you describe your home for me? And I mean, this says quickly, but I wouldn't even say quickly. You could say quickly if they've already told you a lot of stuff, and you might just ask them what upgrades have you done, but you want to say just if they're not talking a lot, you can just, maybe that will start to open them up a lot. So the questions are formed to open them up, to get their goals, so they can start to talk to you, so you know where you're at this process. And then ask them, how would you rate your home on a scale from 1 to 10? And what do you think would make it a 10? So that, again, is going to let you know if they're thinking that they've got the best house in the neighborhood, if they think that, there could be some more updating, and what you're dealing with there, and how attached they are to the house. So those are really important questions. And then the next question is there anything positive or negative about your home that could affect the price? And then if they say no, say, okay, great. And now the next thing is I'll be sending over a package of information. Now this is something that you can do or may not do. I don't usually do it because usually I want that appointment as soon as possible. I don't have a chance to send anything over. If they're going to be interviewing a lot of people and it's going to be within a week, then you might want to send a package over. So kind of use this common sense. I mean, if it's 2 o'clock and you're going out at 4, you're not sending a package over. So don't read that question on the sheet. That's why you have to know where you are and what you're asking. And then the next question is, do you have any questions before I arrive? So this will be good because then you'll know if they might say, well, I really would like to know what you're doing about open houses or this or that, the other, what advertising you do. Then you'll have that ready in your package and you'll be ready when you're getting there. And so who's going to be making the decision on getting the home listed? Will it be just you and your husband, or will there be any more decision makers in the process? And then now here it says, can I have a conversation with them before I go there? I mean, you can ask them that. I'd go, because right then, if I'm talking with one of the decision makers, I'm good with that. Not many times are people going to go in and beat me out, and if they do, I at least have a chance. I don't want to get too, if they're going to be interviewing and there's going to be a few decision makers, I just want to make sure that all going to be there when I'm talking with them. So if the wife isn't going to be home, I want to close when the wife and the husband are home. Both decision makers are there, so when I'm talking to them, I don't have to be translated through the wife to the husband or vice versa. And just so you know, our meeting will only take between 5 and 25 minutes. Will that be okay? And the reason why that's very good to set up is because people, for one thing, they will, if they're keeping you for hours, they'll have it in their head that this should only be 5 or 25 minutes. Or they'll be able to, if they don't want a long meeting, that'll give them an easy out. So it's very good to set that up, and from the start. And then also too is if they're not ready to list, it gives you a way to get out of there. Say, I told you at the beginning that this only would take between 5 and 25 minutes, and I've been here an hour, and my other appointment's coming up. So unfortunately, you may not even want the listing. So it just gives you a good way to get out of there if you need it. And then again, I'll see you at 2, and I'm looking forward to meeting you. But now you can see, like, if an agent does that, it's a lot more professional than just running over to the house immediately with no clue on what you're going to be dealing with. Now, when you get to the listing presentation, you have to make sure you have a really good listing presentation. And what I think you should have is a complete book that you don't just whip out and use. You have it on the table, but you don't use that unless you need it. Unless you have to bring out documents and things in there that you have to support your point and support things that you may have something in there regarding price to support them pricing it right. You may have things in there on the marketing that you do. And I have a lot of that stuff that's in the computer under the training area. So you want to make sure that you have all that stuff available. You want to do affirmations before you get to a listing. You want to get yourself positively psyched up. You don't want to be listening to a radio or something negative before you get there. You want to talk. You want to always assume that you're getting the listing. You want to talk with authority and control. You want to let them know that you're the best agent that they're going to hire, and make them feel comfortable and confident that you're going to be able to get the job done. And you can always ask them, well, let me ask you, do you think I can sell your home? And then nod like this and smile. And then, that gets them engaged to think, yeah, you know what? I think that they can sell my house. And it may get them over the hump on wanting to just get you hired and get the job done. The thing that's important to people is going to be the price, the commission, the length of the listing, and how many, and then also let them know that you are expecting referrals from them, that you want to do an amazing job, because this isn't the reason why you're here, is the small reason, listing their home. You want to be the agent that they recommend to all their family and friends. So that's why you're there, and you want to do an amazing job for them, and let them know that. You want to make sure that you're asking more questions, because the more you talk, the more you're going to overprice the listing. You're going to get a lower commission. You're going to have to do way more and promise more. You're going to invalidate yourself, and you're going to be there for a long time, and you're better off trying to get the conversation on them and try to get closing them and try to get them to sign the contract. There's reasons why people won't list with you, and a lot of times is because of the price. So when you're giving a price, you want to give a range of price. What I usually do is I bring out a form with the comps, with each of a full page with all the pictures. So whether you take a computer and show them, or that's the way that I do it, and sit there and put them in front of them and kind of go through the listings. And this is everything that's on the market. This is what's sold. How do we compare on what's active? Where do we fall? Where would we fall in the solds? That's just the way that I feel comfortable. Or you could do it on a CMA or whatever you get into a system for yourself. I just find that the easiest. And I want them to realize that the house has to appraise. So it's hard to overprice it when you have a bank involved. So we have to keep mind of that. So when you go into the house, the first thing you want to do is thank them for letting you come over, and then ask them if they mind taking a quick look at the property. You may want to put your stuff on the table, kind of go into where you're going to be sitting, and lay your stuff down. Take a notepad and really go through the house. Take a look at it. Look at the ceilings. Take a look. If you see any damage, floors, ceilings, ask them about it. Because that just shows, most agents are going to just say, oh, it's gorgeous, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. But it shows you're not doing your job. So you want to kind of look at things, point things out, point out things that need to get done. Make sure that you do a good walk around the exterior as well as the interior, and notice for anything that could be a problem or could pose a problem on inspections or anything else. So after you've looked at the house, then you might want to ask them, well, I have 3 really important questions I would like to ask you. Do you really absolutely have to sell this house? And see what they say. If they say, no, we could rent it, or That'll really tell you if they say, yes, we have to sell, we're moving, that's it. That's what you want to hear. And then let me ask you, will you price the house to sell? And they'll say, what do you mean by that? We'll say, well, today, we bring over things. As a realtor, we study prices every day, in properties every day. And we bring over everything in the neighborhood with the prices. Are you going to be able to price the house and fall in reason with the prices that are going on in your neighborhood? And see what they say. And if they say yes, say great. And then let me ask you, do you want me to handle it for you? So the reason why you ask that is because if they say yes, then shut up and write the contract and have them sign the listing. It's over. It's not, it happens, that it's as easy as that sometimes, but most of the time it's not quite that easy. So then what you have to do is you have to go on to the next, which is the 5-minute presentation. And then from the next thing you're going to do is say, at the end of my presentation tonight, you'll have the opportunity to list your home with me. You'll have the opportunity not to list your home with me, or I may decide not to take your listing, which any one of these three are fine. And they'll say, well, why wouldn't you take my listing? And say, well, sometimes people want to price the house way above what I could even get it appraised for. And then I just can't help you. Or you just may not feel comfortable. We may not feel comfortable working with each other. There's other things that come up in my presentation that I just want you to be comfortable, and I want this to be a really good, strong relationship. So that's usually why, if I feel like that I can't get the job done, I'd rather let you down. I'd rather turn you down than let you down. And that's the way I do my business. So that's a really good line. I'd rather turn down the listing than let you down as a customer. So I'd rather turn you down than let you down. So let's go over the questions that we went over the phone. So then you go over the questions again. Now there's only 2 issues that we have to look at today. It's going to be your motivation to sell this house, and number 2 is going to be the price we set on the property to get the realtors excited as well as the buyers to take a look at your property. So it's important with all the data that we have today that buyers and sellers look at, that you understand that these are the only 2 issues that really matter. So are we clear on that? Great. So what I've prepared for you is called a competitive market analysis, a CMA. So what we have is part 1, which we call Fantasyland. And these are the active listings. This is what people can put their house on the market for and sell or not sell. But these are asking prices that they do not have a contract. And then we have reality. And then this is where people have listed their properties and what they've sold for and how long it's taken them to sell. So it's very important that we spend our time and go over everything, and you need to find and see where you want to spend your time, whether it's with the actives in Fantasyland or into reality where homes are listed and sold. So the purpose of the CMA is to determine the value, but it has to be the value in the eyes of the buyer. So you have to kind of separate yourself, which isn't easy, and look at your house as a buyer would look at your house. So let me ask you, so after we've gone over this, John, what price do you absolutely have to have for this house? Ouch. Well, based on that, I have a couple of questions to ask you. Specifically, why do you feel that your home is worth $10,000 more than the neighbor's that has a brand new kitchen? And then see what they say. Well, this house has all of that and more. So let me ask you, if you had 2 cars and you were selling 2 cars, and one of them was $5,000 more, and the other one had some fancy rims and a fancy radio, but was $5,000 more than the one that was just the basic model, which one would you probably go for? Yeah, like most people, they'd go for the one that's the standard model and then if they have $5,000, they could do whatever if they wanted to do some upgrading, or most people would just live without it. Now, take the one with the fancy rims and the awesome radio and the roof and everything else, and now make that the same price as the one the other one that you're selling. So you have the two models and the one that's really upgraded at the same price. Which one would you go for then? Of course, you're going to go for the one that's all upgraded for the same price. So houses work the same way, and you just got to really look and from a buyer's perspective and see, why would I pay $5,000 or $10,000 more for this property when this one just sold and it had a brand new kitchen in it? So I think that you understand that if you were buying a house, which one would you buy? Be honest. The one with the brand new kitchen for the same price as the one that had the older kitchen. Exactly. And most buyers feel the same way. That's why, again, I'm going to recommend this price. We've seen all the comps and gone through it. So are you ready to get it on the market for that price today? So all we have to do is simply sign the contract. And then, there's other examples and things like that. Not always are you going to get them to go with your price, but then you're going to have to be there a little bit more. And then they're going to probably go into more like, what are you going to do to sell my property? And then that's where you'll pull out your listing presentation. And we'll be having things in the listing presentation. I'll be giving you examples of mine, and you'll be adding through these classes through the time on getting more things added to your listing presentation, so you have your little binder and you're ready to go when those things come up. And then going for your price is another going for your price script. And you can say, well, do you understand what the meaning of overpriced is? And they'll say, oh yeah, well, I know what the word overpriced is. Say, let me tell you what happens when you have a house or a condo or whatever that's overpriced. The agents use your house, if you're getting a lot of showings, to sell another property. So what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll show your house for $250,000 and the neighbor's at $250,000, but the neighbor's has a new kitchen. So they're going to say, if you like this house at $250,000, you're going to love this house at $250,000. Then they're going to send them there, bring them there, and then they're going to write up the contract down there. Now you can't afford to have that happen to you because you told me that you want to be in LA in 45 days, right? So then, and then if you have to work with them a little bit, work with them. But then you need to call them. If they decide, okay, well, I just want to try it like that, you can say, that's no problem. We'll try it like that. And you can even put, like, in 30 days, we'll reduce to this price and write it right in the listing contract because people get amnesia when you leave. So pricing is everything. Marketing is a lot too, but you really want to price it right. There's some things in here about remodeling or selling, and how when you remodel, how much is recoverable. So that's just some statistics. Also, this is statistics that you must know when you go over there. You want to know certain things like how many active listings there are compared to last year at this time, how many listings, the average list price, the average marketing time, how many days that they're on the market before they go into contract, compared to last year at this time if there's more, the list price versus sale price ratio compared to last year, the number of sales year to date, the average sales price compared to last year, and overall appreciation or depreciation. You also want to see how many homes are on the market, how many are pending, and how many have sold, and then you can kind of figure out how long it's going to take to sell. And that's a good thing you can use with buy owners too, because even with your exposure, it takes 3 months to sell. So all of these things are powerful when we get in more of an even market. You have to know what the market days are and how the market is and the reaction of the market. This is a really interesting thing. It just says different ways that out of 79 of 100 buyers end up buying through a real estate agent or a professional yard signer or someone that they've met through real estate. 7 might find a builder, which really probably way less than that here. 7 find things in a newspaper, or internet, more than that on the internet, but maybe in one of those realtor books or whatever. It's probably less now. And 7 out of 100 find a property other ways. But most of the time they're going to find it through a realtor, and most of the time they're going to come in, sit down with a realtor, go through all the properties that are out there, and then have the opportunity to see everything on the market. The unrealistic eye just is a kind of little funny thing, just showing a property through 5 different eyes: the lender, yourself, the buyer, and the appraiser. It's kind of funny. Now we have the 2015 RE/MAX versus the industry, which is very interesting. This is an excellent thing to have and know, and you go through it. It basically just says what we have in sides, our brand awareness, our advertising, how many countries we're in, which we're more than double our competitors, how many offices we have worldwide, which we are about more than double our competitors, and how many agents we have worldwide. Then in here's a room by room review. Now you can copy this. I have a Word file if you want it, where you can just put your face on it, or you can just make up your own. But it just gives them little things that they can do to make their house show better. And a lot of people want a little bit of ideas. So basically that concludes listings. With listings, you want to go on quite a few appointments to get comfortable. Another thing you want to do is you can put up into like 35 photos on MLS. My suggestion is you fill it with all 35. You want to get good at doing videos. You want to get good at doing a quick video thing and getting your own YouTube channel and being able to do these for marketing. Also in RE/MAX, when you're doing your brochures and things like that, I'll show you how to do that in later training. And what you can do is you'll do a really nice house flyer. Sometimes I do a little clear binder for people. It might have information about the schools. It may have information about a map of the neighborhood. Just things that people are going to hold on to. And they're going to, go, if they want that house, they'll be able to reference. So you always want to do an amazing job for listings. That's the name of the game. The more you list, the more you last. The more you list, the more vacations you can go on. The more you list, the less weekends you work. So go out there and get a listing. Thank you.